My family is planning our first Disney cruise, and I want to share some stuff that I've learned along the way. If you haven't been here before, hi, my name's Alicia. I am a teacher, a mom of three boys, and I fell in love with Disney in my 30s, and I have not looked back since. So, we are taking our first Disney cruise in March of 2026 on the Disney Magic. We're taking a 7-night cruise. And even though our cruise is still a few months away, I have learned so much during the planning phase, and I want to share it with you now. The first thing that you need to know about is booking windows. Like, you need to know them before Disney springs them on you. Having them in your head is going to be super helpful. And if you're working with a travel agent, they'll probably keep you up to date on these. So the things that you need to know are how to get port arrival times, when your online check-in time is, that's related, and when you can book onboard activities. Those are all going to be different dates based off how many times you've cruised before, or if you're concierge. So if it's your first cruise, you're going to be able to check in online 30 days before your cruise. I will talk more about how to check in online in a couple minutes. The other important date is going to be booking onboard activities and excursions, which, if it's your first cruise, you're going to be able to do 75 days before your cruise. And then everybody's paid in full date is a few months before their cruise. So you need to keep those dates in mind. They're all super important. And the check-in date is one of the most important, because the check-in date is how you're going to pick your port arrival time, the time that you are allowed to get on the ship. So because I'm a first-time Disney cruiser, I am going to be allowed to check in 30 days beforehand at midnight Eastern time. I'm in Central time, so I'll be checking in at 11 p.m. right before that 30-day mark hits. Here's what you need to have on hand in order to check in for your cruise. You need a passport or whatever travel documents you have for every member on your reservation, and you need a photo with a blank background, kind of like what I have back here would be totally fine, like a boring passport photo. Think about that. Make sure you have those beforehand, because if you're like me, you don't want to be scrambling to try to get a picture of your kids at midnight the night that you're trying to hustle and check in. Take them whenever you think about it. Save them on the desktop of your laptop or whatever. I'm going to have a folder labeled check-in on my laptop, and then I'm going to label each passport and each photo with each person's name. So when I'm uploading the documents, it's going to be really easy. Just a tip, if you have an iPhone, take the time to change the file type to a JPEG, because the website isn't always going to take those iPhone file types. You're going to want to change the file type there. So just be ready for your check-in. Make sure you have those documents ready to go, and the quicker you check in, the sooner the boarding time. Now, remember, people who have cruised more are checking in before you. So don't worry about that. That's fine. You might not get the first port arrival time, second, third even, but you're going to get on the ship. So if you don't get the port arrival time you're hoping for, remember that's only a couple hours difference of your whole vacation, so it's not the end of the world. Another thing that I learned as I was planning this Disney cruise is about carrying on items to the ship. So when you check in for your port arrival time, you're getting on the ship, there's going to be porters who will take your bag. Now, you are allowed to tell them no if you want to carry all of your luggage around with you, but I don't know why you would want to do that. So personally, I will be taking full advantage of them. Do make sure you have some tipping money on you, because they do expect tips. They will take your luggage, they will put it in your room for you, and then you'll have your carry-on for the few hours until your room is available, typically around 1:30, a little later, possibly 2. So then what you are going to want in that bag is your travel documents, because they're going to take your luggage before you check onto the cruise. So make sure you have those travel documents. You don't want your passport to be rolling somewhere else when you need it. If you are bringing a Magic Band Plus or a Disney Band Plus, which is the same thing, they just call it something different on the cruise. So if you hear Disney Band Plus, that's a Magic Band. If you are bringing that on the cruise, you're going to want to have that in your cruise carry-on so they can activate that while you're getting on the ship. If you forget, you can totally bring it to guest services and they will take care of that for you. So please don't worry about it. It just will be one less thing you have to stress about on the ship. Another thing that you can have in your carry-on is if you choose to drink, each adult in your party can bring 2 bottles of wine or 6 beers. So it's super important if you do choose to bring that it is in your carry-on on your person. If that is in your luggage, I don't think that it's going to make it to your stateroom. So keep it in your carry-on. The next thing that I mentioned earlier is because of these staggered booking dates, just know that things are probably going to sell out. If you have your heart set on pillow lunch, which is the adult dining experience, and you are a first-time cruiser like me, you might not get it right away. Okay, so don't worry. Try to get what you want, but things are probably going to sell out before that 30 days before your cruise hits. However, you are more than able to go to guest services on your first day of the cruise right after your port arrival time and see if something has come available. Typically, when you first get on the cruise, there's going to be a dining team, usually in one of the adult areas or somewhere else. You can check in the Navigator app to see where they're located. And there's going to be a dining team that you can go talk to if you want to change your rotational dining, which I'll talk about in a moment. Book an adult dining experience that you didn't get a chance to book beforehand, or book a beverage tasting. There's a lot of wine tastings and champagne tastings and things. So if you didn't get one of those that you were hoping to, you're allowed to go to guest services or to the dining team and try to make that work for you. So don't worry if it sells in advance. And even if you can't get it, remember, you're still on vacation. All is good. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about rotational dining. As someone who is obsessed with planning every single detail of my trip, rotational dining honestly stressed me out a little bit the first time because it's picked for me. And I didn't know how I felt about that, but I am kind of loving it because it's forcing me to not overanalyze everything. So you are assigned one of 2 dining times, an early or regular dining time or a late dining time. On the cruise that we're taking, it's 5:45 or 8:15. A lot of people with younger families tend to prefer the 5:45 time, but again, you really can't go wrong. Your family might have one that you prefer, but don't worry about it. You can also talk to the dining team when you get on the cruise ship about this. If you book early enough, you should be able to select one of the 2, but the 5:45 or the earlier time is probably going to sell out several months before the cruise, or book up before the cruise, I should say. So if you want that earlier time, just be aware, book early, you can grab it. And if you don't get it, go talk to the dining team and see if some things can move around. And then the rotational dining also picks the order that you're going to go to the restaurants on. So when we sail on our cruise in March, we're going to be on the Disney Magic, which only has 3 restaurants, but we have a 7-night cruise. So we're going to be rotated through those 3 restaurants, and they're going to change their menu. There'll be special menus on Pirate Night and things like that Disney Cruise has. So on Pirate Night on our cruise, every single restaurant is going to change to the special pirate dining menu. So it doesn't matter what restaurant we are in for that. If we don't want to repeat a restaurant for some reason, that might be a really good night for us to book Palo, the adult dining experience. So that's just some stuff right there. The other thing that I want you to know is the kids' clubs are open late, like late, midnight or even 1 a.m. depending on the ship. So if you have teens or tweens, please know they're going to have a spot. If you want to go have some time and you feel comfortable letting them roam the ship or go to their club on their own, by all means do it. The Younger Kids Club, the Oceaneer Lab for kids from 3 to 10 is also open that late too. They do not charge extra for keeping your kids that late. So if you want to have them go have a drink after dinner or whatever it might be, know that that is going to be there and an option. The Small World Nursery does charge extra. So just be aware of that. If you have a child under 3, you will need to book the Small World Nursery in advance. My kids are older than that, so that isn't luckily something that I have to deal with anymore. But just know that that is a thing if your child is under 3 and you're looking for daycare for them while you are on your cruise. The last thing that I want to talk about is tipping, you can choose to have all of your tips prepaid with your cruise. That is what we're doing. So you just add gratuities in advance, and the people that get tipped are your room host and your cabin mates. Is that the right word? Anyway, and also your dining team who rotates with you. So your dining servers are going to be your same servers every single night of your cruise. So you don't have to worry about tipping them separately every night. So you can leave them something extra if you want to. They're all tipped at the end of the cruise, and that's actually perfectly normal at the Disney cruise. Even if you're not adding gratuity in the beginning, you'll be given an envelope before you leave your cruise to decide how much to tip everybody. So that is totally an option too. Or even if you're tipping in advance and you want to tip a little bit extra, you'll still have those envelopes to make the choice. But they know that people tip in advance, so don't feel bad if you are not leaving extra all the time, because they know people take care of that either in advance or in a lump sum at the end. So don't stress about that at all. So those are some things that we learned while we're in the process of planning our first Disney cruise. And I know I'm going to learn a lot more along the way. I also want to share with you that I am a travel agent specializing in Walt Disney World, Disneyland, and the Disney Cruise Line. So if you're interested in booking a Disney cruise, please know that I'm here to help. Or if you've recently booked a Disney cruise and you realize that it's more than you thought it was going to be, you can contact me and we can see if we're able to transfer that reservation over to me so I can help you take care of some stuff. If you just have a couple quick questions about Disney cruises and you're not sure if you're ready to go on one, or you already booked one and you just want to know like some simple things about what's next, feel free to drop a comment too. Even if I'm not your travel agent, I'm here to help and I want everybody to have the best experience possible. So in the meantime, hit like, subscribe. I'm going to come out with a lot more tips for the Disney Cruise Line as we're planning our Disney cruise here, and I'll see you next time.